Okay, so for a little bit of backstory, this really isn't going to be a normal lowballing episode, although I'm still doing lowballing and stuff. So a few days ago or a week, I don't even remember how long it was ago, a guy DM'd me on Discord, pretty much asking me to flip for him so he could buy a hype. So I'm allowed to flip as much as I want, just as long as I buy him a hype at some point. And he gave me 1,000,000,000 coins to flip with, which I thought would make pretty good content. So I'm gonna turn this into a series where I'm flipping the 1,000,000,000 coins or whatever and documenting what I flip or lowball or whatever. So it's still gonna be lowballing, but just kind of a different format. But yeah, anyways, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the future episodes, and let's get right into it. Alright, so this first guy trades me an Ender Relic with a Recom and an Enrichment on it. Since these are pretty standard, I'm just going to go lowest bin with these things. So lowest bin one with Enrichment and Recom is 95, so I just go 10% of that, which is 85 mil. So I offer him 85, but he keeps trying to offer up, and at that point, the tax plus the amount of profit I'd be making just isn't worth it. So we don't end up trading. This guy offers a clean Juju, so I give him 16 mil and he accepts. But he actually tries to scam me by giving me an artisanal shortbow, so I just kick him. This guy gives me Recom 5-star Shadow Assassin boots, and I just offer low spin for these again because they're pretty standard. They don't have any like special things on them really. So I'm able to get 5 mil for those. This guy gives me a 355 with a Recom and Compact 7. After I checked the auction house though, there really weren't any with a Recom, so I kind of just ignored it because I didn't think someone would buy a 355 with a Recom on it. So I offered around lowest bin because it did have Compact on it, but Compact really isn't that hard to get to level 7. So I offered 16 mil for it, but he didn't end up accepting. This guy gives me some dyed armor, and since it's dyed, I just immediately declined it because people really don't want dyed armor rather than just the normal colors. This guy gives me a Swarm 5 Livid Dagger with a bunch of tier 6s on it, so I checked the lowest bin for Swarm 5, and it was 18 mil, so I just decided to go a few mil under that. Yeah, so I offered him 14 mil, which was around lowest bin, so he ended up actually declining it. This guy offers me a few items. They were all pretty much standard, just recommed and had basic enchants and reforges on them, so I just checked lowest bin for each one, and I wrote it down. For the Necromancer Lord chestplate, since it's not really a common thing that people use, I really didn't factor in the last stand because it's not really that good of a chestplate, and people who are buying it probably aren't going to look for last stand 5. And for the Sorrow, again, I just checked lowest bin, added it up, and asked for 43 mil for all of it, but he ended up declining. This guy gives me a 3-star Flower of Truth with a Recom and basic enchants. So I was thinking that now that Essence is on the bazaar, I could just buy some Essence and 5-star it and then sell it like that. So I checked for the lowest one that looked similar, and I just offered a little bit under that. So I give him 8 mil and he accepts the trade. Alright, so now I decided to do some age flipping because lowballing was getting kind of dry and I wasn't really making much profit. So I first checked Warden helmets. I looked for Legion 5 to see if I could find a Legion 5 one that was much lower than the others, but I didn't find it. And I also checked G6P6, but same thing. Next I went to Giant Swords. I checked for Soul Eater 5, One for All, Tier 6s, etc. And they were all kind of in order, like the ones that were valued at more were priced higher, so I couldn't really get anything out of those either. So then I checked the price of Soul Eater 5 because I thought that I might be able to buy a clean one and apply enchants on it for profit. But Soul Eater 5 was actually pretty expensive, so I ended up just not doing anything with it. Next I checked Ender Dragons, which were level 100. Again, there really wasn't many flips in here because they were all kind of in order in terms of value. And even if there was a flip, it was only a couple mil, and that would have been taken away by taxes anyways, so there was nothing here. Next I checked Terminators, same thing again. There really weren't any outstanding Terminators that were priced lower than they should be, so I couldn't really do anything with this. Next I checked Golden Dragons, but level 200s were too expensive, and I didn't really know the market on these, so I just ended up not doing anything. Next I checked Lion Pets. Yet again, there was no flips in this. They were all the same kind of, and they're priced around the same price, so I really couldn't do anything. Next I checked Overfluxes, and the prices between them were pretty small, but I thought that maybe I could craft one with an Overflux capacitor because they were only 60 mil. But after I checked the craft price, it was pretty much the same as the actual value, so I couldn't get a flip out of that one. Okay, so for this one, this guy offered me some pretty maxed out FCF 3FF Necron boots, which are white. And since they're dyed and white Necron is pretty desirable, I decided to buy them for 160 mil. The craft price for normal Necron boots is around this price, and I asked in Crystal Cafe, and the color is worth around 40 to 60 mil. So I decided to price them as high as I could reasonably and just wait to see if they sell. And even if they don't, I could probably sell them to a lowballer for at least 20 mil profit. Next I checked Reaper masks. I first checked Last Stand 5 because it's a pretty common enchant, and I saw this one that was priced way lower than the other ones, so I immediately bought it and relisted it for a good 2 mil profit. Next I checked Goldar Boots, again with the Last Stand 5 because it's Goldar, and I saw these ones that had gemstone slots that were lower than they should be, so I bought them and put gemstones on and resold them for about a 3 mil flip. Next I checked Ice Spray Wands with Ultimate Wise 5 because that's a pretty standard ultimate enchant to put on them. And I saw that the lowest one was around 35 mil with 5 stars and Ultimate Wise 5. After looking for a minute though, I noticed that the lowest Ice Spray Wand with nothing on it was actually 10 mil under, and Ultimate Wise 5 is only worth like 3 mil. So I decided to buy it, put stars on it, and put the enchant on it for some quick profit. Alright, so my guild member traded me a bunch of various pets and talismans. I'm not going to bore you with this, but I pretty much just looked at all of them, took the lowest bin and a couple mil under, and then I offered 80 mil for all of it, and she accepted. Okay, so it's the next day now, and I claimed all my auctions, which was super satisfying, but a few of my items didn't sell, which were the Goldar Boots, Reaper Mask, Necron Boots, and the Shadow Assassin Boots. So first I checked the Necron Boots, and it looked like someone had undercut me, so I just decided to keep it there, because it would be a lot of tax to relist it, and someone might buy the lower ones, and then buy mine after. Alright, so after I checked this, I looked at Giant Swords again, and I actually ended up finding a Soul Eater 5 one listed for way lower than it should have been. So the next lowest Soul Eater 5 was 248, and I found one for 225, so I bought it and relisted it for a good 18 mil flip. After this, I checked Ender Dragons again, still with nothing. But then I decided that it might be a good idea to try and see if I could apply a tier boost to an epic one to get a flip out of that, because last time I checked, tier boosts are around 60 mil. But after I looked, it was actually 120 mil for a tier boost, so it wasn't a flip at all. Alright, so next I checked Goldar chest plates with Last Stand 5. And I actually found one with gemstones that didn't have any others nearby it, so I decided to buy it and list it for about 4 mil higher. I could have listed it for a lot higher than that because there really weren't any gemstoned ones on the auction house, but I don't know, somebody might have undercut me if I listed it too high, and then it would have just taken forever to sell, and I don't think it would be worth it. So I just took the 4 mil flip and I left it there. So next I checked Atom Splits, and Swarm 5 is a pretty decent enchant on Atom Splits because there's a lot of mobs when you fight Void Glooms. And I saw one listed for 60 mil, and the next one was 65 mil. So I bought the 60 mil one and relisted it for a 4 mil flip. I was traded a legendary Ocelot pet, which was level 100, and I pretty much just went lowest bid on this, and we eventually settled on 16 mil, so that's a pretty easy 3 or 4 mil flip. Alright, that's it for this episode. We made quite a bit of profit, but I'm definitely going to keep going and try and flip even more. This was honestly a lot easier than I thought it would be, and hopefully it actually lasts long enough to be called a series, but I should be releasing another episode soon. See ya!